I'm gonna love you, babe. Cross my heart and hope to die.
Welcome back to Sailing Ruby Rose. This is the forward cockpit of a 52-foot aluminium Explocat. Perfectly functional. This will take you high latitude sailing. This will take you through the Northwest Passage in a cat. It is incredibly strong with an aluminium hull, composite deck, stunning throughout. Let's have a look at the 52-foot aluminium catamaran. So welcome to the walkthrough of the Explocat 52. Let's just start obviously at the stern. We have some very well over-engineered davits there. That will take a large dinghy. Also lovely to see easy access to the life raft both fore and aft. That is very easily deployable, and if you remember back to our reviews from 2020, a feature that we absolutely love. Let's step on board. There is a swim ladder there. I don't like swim ladders that cannot be stowed completely, but let's just forgive that and walk up these lovely wide steps. The emergency steering access there, easy to see, and those lovely little LED lights to light the way on board at night. A sweeping view around the cockpit. It is very lovely to see such over-engineered stainless steel kind of holding up the coach roof there. This cockpit is huge. Another thing that I do really like is a solid wood table on telescopic legs here. And there's lots of lovely little touches here. There are lockers, there are fridges, there's a barbecue, and everything is done in this kind of flexi teak, which is kind of engineered into the deck. But again, this would be an absolutely lovely area to dine in. Again, you've got an L-shaped sofa here, and those windows open to communicate with the galley. So you've got opening windows and obviously a sliding door there just to let you through into the saloon. All very high luxury items. The barbecue here actually is next to a sink, so you do have a full kind of working outdoor area to get all your preparations and bits done if you choose to dine outdoors, as we did regularly. Lovely to see here. You've got lovely line stowage boxes next to those winches, and all those clutches kind of lead back from the foredeck. It is kind of very well engineered for this, but single-handed sailing is not going to be something you're going to do with this boat just based on those positions. Again, as we take another sweeping view, you have the winches and the clutches for what I assume are going to be the Genoas or the spinnakers here. One small thing I don't like, and I'm just going to mention that the Traveller, as you can see, just is aft of the bench seat here, is it would appear that the lines for the spinnaker or the Genica actually bisect the cockpit based on the position of those clutches. That is something that I would probably want to work on a little bit. But aside from that, really love the area. Something which is becoming increasingly popular at the moment is these Versa helms. So there is a down position for the Versa helm. I question the should you be helming in inclement weather, but two steps ups take you to a very lovely wide kind of cockpit seat, full visibility, but again it is exposed to the elements. And it would be in inclement weather. But you've got this rotating pod for your instruments, a full set of helm controls here, including your plotter. Again, the position of that plotter in full sunlight, I question it. And one thing I do not like is these kind of like little bimini arches. But again, there is the Versa helm positions. For those of you who think I'm kind of against this sort of position, I do question which you would use more. Lots of lines running from the mast back, and they again probably would be better if they were captive in some respect, but again it's a choice, and it was done on the Seawind 1260. I prefer them to be captive in that situation. Moving forward down the very lovely wide decks, clearly there's lots of hatches in the decks, and that leads to a lot of light. One thing I will say about this yacht is it is very well finished. There are lots of handrails. It's very easy to tread. But again, if you look at that, that is a tripping hazard there just on that rail. But walking down the decks, as I said, these are flexi teak decks, which basically means they are almost bomb-proof. You haven't got any maintenance to do. As to the aesthetics of teak decks on a catamaran, that's subjective. But let's start with this large forelocker. It shows very clearly actually the quality of the aluminium construction within. So huge amounts of storage in here. Moving across to starboard, there is a very large trampoline, the longeron, and then there is a forward cockpit as well, something which we have seen on those Leopards. But the long run actually takes the windlass chain. And again, the rig is super tough here. There is a small built-in bowsprit. And again, this is it's cutter rigged, but there is still the option of putting another foresail on there. So again, you've got a lot of combinations for kind of sail plans, sail trims. I could easily see myself just running a storm jib on the inner forestay, a larger overlapping Genoa on the outer forestay, and then obviously you've got the bowsprit for your colored sails or your asymmetric. So yeah, the sail plan, very easy to kind of like tailor that to the sailing that you're doing, but yeah, really well set up. Looking at the coach roof again, the mast is huge. So we've got that semi-Park Avenue boom, which is obviously going to allow for easier drop of your mainsail. Radar forward, which is an odd combination because it can actually trap the foresail there a little bit, and one set of spreaders. But if we take a walk through that door into the forward cockpit, it shows you the kind of the view that you've got there, and visibility is pretty amazing. The forward cockpit, I do like them, although we have talked before about how watertight that door would be and how quickly that drains. But again, it's a beautiful area, 2 lovely wooden steps going up onto the coach roof. Lovely sofa area there, but interestingly enough, there's also a large power winch there which serves, I believe it's the spinnakers and other areas. Again, this is not, I believe, a boat that would easily be short-handed just because of the placement of the winches all around the boat, and obviously the problems in possibly communicating between skipper and crew in this area. But everything is very, very, very well engineered, if not over-engineered. So again, very happy with this, very well constructed, but some things I would modify slightly. And now 37 seconds of shameless advertising. Just bear with us on this.
Welcome to the Southampton Boat Show. It's our book. It's finally arrived. The Boat Life Manual. 305 pages of a complete blueprint on how to live on a boat. Like, amazed to see this in print finally, so yeah.
And what else? Practical Boat Owner just rated the Boat Life Manual as one of the best new reads. In addition to that, there is a small company, well, actually it's a massive company called Boat and Yacht, which labeled it as an honest personal companion for anyone who dreams of life on board. And finally, Di Cafari, one of the badassest sailors ever to have lived, wrote the foreword. So, how do we feel about this? Well,
Pretty chuffed.
So if you want a copy of the Boat Life Manual, check the links below. Looking at the interior of the saloon, these are all semi-bespoke areas, so everything is obviously customized by the owner, but again, it's very easy to see the quality of the build there. We have a large L-shaped galley, which is a C-shaped galley, which has opening windows, so very, very easy to communicate with crew in the cockpit. Again, all the fittings, all the fitments, very high quality, and again, as you know, we are very, very up on joinery. It was one of our things that we did back in 2020. The joinery is superb, flawless work surfaces here. And as we sweep around the galley, we can see just there's also a lot of storage and a lot of light. This would be a very easy place to cook, both at anchor and also in a seaway. Again, being able to brace yourself. I understand that catamarans don't heal as much, but being able to brace yourself in a galley in inclement weather is something that you're really going to need, especially seeing as this boat was built for high latitude sailing, should the owners want this. But again, a lovely area, port and aft. Something I do love is a forward-facing chart station. As you know, we designed that into the 1370, but it's interesting to note here, throttle controls. With an autopilot control and throttle controls, you essentially have full control of the boat under motor, which again, from an interior position in high latitude sailing, is something that you really are going to benefit from. Swinging across to starboard, we have this large dining area, L-shaped, with those director's chairs that pull out, with the cabinetry and the aft bulkhead holding a television and some refrigeration there just before you head down into the starboard hull. Now you've got those large windows, as I said, as we swing past, that open, lots of air, lots of communication. And going down into the starboard hull, this I think is designated as the owner's hull, so it is only for the owners. Lots of lovely cabinetry there, some really good storage, and as we swing around aft, there is the master cabin there, those aft beds, which And as we pull this privacy door over, I would have liked to have seen another door behind that just to kind of keep your laundry covered. But again, beautiful cabinetry. There is really the feel of high quality build in this boat. I think that's something that, no one is going to argue against. Garcia builds some amazing yachts, both in catamarans and in monohulls. And this is a really opulent owner's cabin. Obviously all based in one hull, but again, it's an area that if you were doing a circumnavigation as a liveaboard, you really would not have no problem kind of like living here full time. Moving forward, we have this desk area, which obviously pulls out, with a pull-out chair. And again, should you wish, as we said with our previous review, sometimes you just want some privacy, and finding a boat which is zoned to allow you just to take some quiet time is a really, really positive feature in any boat. Forward again, we have this large, very large heads, twin sinks. Again, I question the need for twin sinks. Are we just wasting space there a little bit? But again, moving forward, we have a large stand-up shower. And interestingly, the owners have added central heating in the form of radiators to this boat. So I can only assume that the plans for this boat don't simply involve bobbing around the Bahamas, drinking mojitos. Moving back across the saloon and down into the guest hull. Again, very similar to the starboard hull, but we have two cabins, one fore and one aft. Similar size double beds. These are not island beds, but again, that is to be expected from this position. Fore and aft, and the two cabins share the Jack and Jill bathroom. Well, essentially, for those of you not in the know, that means a bathroom that has access for both cabins, but with two doors. So again, very, very nice, very well thought out. And again, for a family or a crew, this is a very, very large space. Don't forget, of course, we are talking about a 52-foot catamaran here, and we have lots of storage space clearly for all the accoutrements you would possibly need for a full circumnavigation or for life on board. Let's just take a quick spin around the engine bay before we go on to the specifications. Again, both engine bays, catamarans, so we've got engines port and starboard. These are very, very large Volvo engines, but everything is very well set out. I can always kind of like get an idea for the build quality of a boat, but just how well laid out an engine bay is. Very easy to get around, very easy to service, and again, very, very impressive. Now let's run through the specifications of the Explocat 52, because actually this is where we get into the nitty gritty of it all. We are talking about a 55-foot catamaran, 52 foot on the waterline. The beam is 8 meters 20, a meter and a half of draft, and we are talking at almost 19,000 kilograms of weight. Tanks, we've got 1,100 liters of fuel, 600 liters of water, and with a 40-liter hot water tank, which I think is going to be about standard. But let's talk about this aluminium construction. She is very, very well built, but the top side is GRP. Lots of watertight bulkheads, and she is insulated, which is important for an aluminium boat. Lots of corrosion protection, and the fittings and rudders are shockproof. So again, it is built for a lot of high latitude stuff. But this is not a cheap boat. The base price is $1.45 million. Fully spec'd, we're looking at $2.73 million, and used options are coming in at about $2.29 million. So between basic and fully spec, that's an 80% increase. That's minus tax.
So as I sit here in this beautiful cockpit, as the wind picks up at Cannes, what do I think of this boat? She's beautiful. She is beautiful. The quality of the engineering. If you think back to our reviews from 2019, I am a nerd for quality of engineering. The quality of engineering on this boat is incredible. Lots of small touches which just allude to basically a lot of thought going into the design. The deck, this kind of composite, whether it's a kind of cork material, but it doesn't hold heat, it's non-slip, it washes clear. It's an aluminium catamaran that essentially is tough as old boots, will take you high latitude sailing. There's not a lot to not like. I'm not a great fan of the exposed cockpit, but again, it's got the Versa helm, so you can have it in two positions anyway. You have an enclosed cockpit for when the weather is inclement, and you know, when you're zipping around the Bahamas, you have a beautiful sunscreen. The forward cockpit is very reminiscent of the Leopards, I almost said Jaguars, the Leopards that we reviewed, and I like it. I do like it. The interior is semi-bespoke, so you're going to have it as opulent or as utilitarian as you like. This one, clearly for German owners, has central heating, and therefore it's probably designed for high latitude sailing. It is an amazing boat. It very much impresses me. Is it what I would use but I don't want to go high latitude sailing? Does it appeal to me? Yes. Would I want this if I was going high latitude sailing? Yes, of course I would. Would I choose this over a monohull for high latitude sailing? That in itself is a question that I don't have an answer to. I still think that for high latitude, in really inclement weather, I would pick the monohull, just because of the inherent stability of a monohull over a catamaran. But that's my jam. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you like it, give us a like. Subscribe to the channel. We have a lot more reviews coming up, more of these beautiful boats, and if there's a boat you want us to review, let us know and we'll put something down below. But yes, lots more boat reviews, all different incarnations. We're even going to start doing motorboats. Whatever next. Hope you enjoyed this one. Take care. Goodbye.
I'm gonna love you, babe. Cross my heart and hope to die.